Lindnerology would probably be the correct word.
Okay,
yes.
So this is a Q&A.
Yes.
What is a neeb?
We had a cousin called Nebo. And if you did things like Nebo, you became a neeb. So,
And what did Nebo do? He just did.
Nebo was okay on most things, but occasionally he did things wrong. And when you did things wrong, you became a neeb.
Okay, what is a trick nanny?
It's just a word we made up. You would get yourself. You generally get yourself in a trick nanny. It was a situation. Yeah, it's best to understand. It's a situation that's extremely difficult to get out of. That's a trick nanny. A situation that's extremely difficult.
Like going out fishing, taking off at the landing at night and forgetting to put the plug in the boat. You would be in a...
That would be a trick nanny, yes.
Okay. What is getting finched?
There used to be a guy named Finch. He owned a bait store. And a lot of times we would go there and forget stuff. And Billy, my son, used to think that this guy ran it's a little bait store in the middle of nowhere. And, but he said that he was really an operator of huge proportions and he controlled people all over the place. And then when things went wrong, it was because of him. In other words, you talked about getting a plug in a boat. If it was something like that, it wasn't your fault, you got finched. It was planned by him.
So, like you and I have been finched several times up on Rainy Lake, and when you would come in and get skunked out of there and you would probably rip half of your lower unit off hitting a rock, you would say,
I got finched, absolutely. Especially ripping off the lower unit. Yes.
That's a classic Finch play, isn't it? Who is Honkley the Christmas Goose?
Is a critter that we got invented. Look, and actually he does exist in physical form.
Yes.
There were a number of Honkleys made. We had a lady that made dolls, and she made a number of Honkleys. And it had a song, and we would have it around Christmas time. Honkley, the Christmas goose is on the loose, and then we'd sing the songs with the little ones. And Honkley would always be, now, the reason Honkley became famous, he played at, a lot of people don't know this, but he played, you know how you have these little Christmas...
like a Christmas carol?
Well, no, you have these Christmas things and going on in churches with live people.
Oh yeah, the Christmas.
Okay,
yep.
you know, and they would have
like a play, a
the
Christmas
birth of
play.
the Lord.
Yep.
Well, Honkley would sometimes be there and he'd be blowing the horn. Now, Honkley played terrible. But when he played for the Lord, it was always a great sound.
Okay, who is Skullbrains?
Skullbrains was, with my youngest son, Dan, I would tell him stories. And of course, we have to have a villain. And the villain was Skullbrains. Skullbrains was probably hiding in the basement with some of his people. This is when he was real small. And Skullbrains he had like a glass cap over, he had his regular head, but this was all glass like this. You could see his brains. That was Skullbrains. and my son Dan was afraid to go in the basement when Skullbrains was there.
And did Skullbrains live on Wolf Mountain, or was Wolf Mountain a separate
Wolf
place?
Wolf Hill, not Wolf Mountain, Wolf Hill. My son Michael, who I drive home every now and again, he's living in a group home. He's handicapped. He is 61, I think, 61 years old, or 61, 62, I'm close. we'd go past Wolf Hill every once in a while when Mom ain't in the car and I got him alone and I'm driving him back on it, and I'll just slow down, and here is Wolf Hill on the left over there, and he's don't you stop. Don't stop when it's dark out, because you can't stop when it's dark with Wolf Hill.
What is drip lipping?
Something. This is when you do something patently stupid, something that absolutely shouldn't be done. I mean, you look. Everybody agrees this is 100% stupid. That's drip lipping.
Okay, what are keeks?
It's all kids, all young ones love, almost, I'd say 99% like the keeks. You take your two fingers and you go in their ribs with them. Keeks. And they like the keeks. After they get older, they don't like the keeks so much. But when they're little, and there's an age thing there that you can do with the keeks.
What is a star belly?
Jeff Zarnoff, a friend of ours, used to come over to the house with the kids, and he had these marking pencils. And in Dr. Seuss books, you had Starbelly Sneetches. You could look that up. I mean, they're actual characters from Dr. Seuss. But Jeff would bring his pens over, marking pens, and he would put Starbellies on all the kids. I'd draw them all the kids.
In permanent marker?
With permanent marker. So they would be around with their Starbellies for a month. You'd be a Starbelly because it wouldn't wash off.
Mom liked that, didn't she? What is dingle dangling?
I'm dingle dangling something in front of you. Okay, I want to get your attention. It works more on people that are sucker prone.
Like dingle dangling, I always thought dingle dangling when you were not paying attention to your rod in the boat and you're just leaving it hang over the edge and the line is just sitting there just flopping around in the wind. Isn't that dingle dangling?
No, dingle dangling, it's form that I understood it. If I wanted to create interest for you and get your eyes something, I would find out something you like or something you care about. And I would dingle dangle it in front of your eyes here, and that would get you.
What is going on when the girls go toenailing?
I don't know. It's the big secret that I always wanted to. Every once in a while, cause this is when they were older. I've got we have 7 kids, 3 girls, and with Granny, and then there were people over, and every once in a while, I would come home and say, "Where is everybody?" And they'll tell me they went toenailing. What is toenail? I always wanted to know where well, now I know there is a Japanese or an Oriental place here. Every toenail place is Oriental, by the way. It's never Latino, it's never black, it's never Caucasian, never. It is always, and that's where they go toenailing. I don't know how they got their hand on this thing, but that's where you go toenailing.
What is the Porky the Head Club?
It's a club. By the way, they sing songs. We formed our own club, and each one, you had jobs, by the way. You were on, it was not permanent until somebody started taking over. Also, it kicked out people, the Porky Head Club. There was people like my daughter Kim, who was permanently banished from the club. She could never come back. Because of her nastiness. In the Porky the Head Club, we had this little pig, and they would sing the songs. It was a takeoff on Mickey Mouse, but it was our own P-O-R-K-E-Y, P-I-P-O-R-K-E-Y,
P-I-G,
H-E-A-D, and then by the way, and you say, hold your hoofs, and you have your fingers high, high, high. Hold your hoofs high, high. They loved holding their hoofs high. And then we had a sergeant at arms, and we would induct each new person as he was coming out. Now Lily and Jack and Carter and Ella Rose probably are not members of the club.
We may have to bring them back this Thanksgiving and have everybody.
Well, you'd have to get Keaton here because he is the sergeant of arms.
Oh, that's right. We have
He
to
walks
Skype
around.
him.
He walks around with a rolled paper, and we sit at this long table. And if you're acting up, you get whacked.
What is a kabonger stick?
It's a. I used to read stories to the girls, and you know you had the princess and everything, and the queen, and you always see her with the holding the thing and then you see pictures of princesses with a star and they're holding a stick. Well, I used to tell them stories. If you had a princess, you had the princess gloves, the princess crown, you had the princess shoes, and all the princess, and you got a kabonging stick. And a kabonging stick is to hit your brother on the head with. That was the kabonging stick.
Oh, God, that's funny. What is a wolf stick?
It's another, just anytime you're passing Wolf Hill, if you have, by any stretch of the imagination, have to get out of the car, you don't do it unarmed. And if you got nothing, you'd have to get a wolf stick.
Yeah, and if we would go for walks with you and Grandpa, everybody would have to get their own stick and make sure that they had a wolf stick for hikes to fend off wolves.
Right. To fend off wolf attacks.
Yes, to fend off wolf attacks. What is bamboo brie?
Oh, I was with the keeks. Instead of 1, 2, 3, I used to tell them, when I count 1, 2, 3, then I'm gonna give you the thing, the jabs, and they went. And I said, I will count 1, 2, 3 first, and I say, bamboo. And it was saying 1, 2, 3 too fast, is what it was. And then 1, 2, 3 fell into. It wasn't that. It was always 1, 2, 3, but that's how they heard it. Is bumblebee.
Bumblebee, right? What is leap for beans?
Every kid that we had, we used to take him by the refrigerator and sit him on top of the refrigerator, and he would jump, or she would jump, and I would be below, and Granny would be having a fit over here, and I would say, come on, and they're, I don't want to. Come on, you gotta do the leap for beans. I don't know why we called it that, but that's what we did. So you would jump off the roof, and we'd catch you.
What is the claw?
That was part of a story that Lindsay in particular had. She was the story with the claw, more specific with Lindsay. She always was afraid of the claw.
Yep, that's what she wanted to hear what that is. What is lobing?
Oh, that was my son Daniel. He called it, you know how you got in your brain, you got lobes? Well, when you do stupid stuff, you're lobing. Your lobes are hanging low, so you're lobing.
Your front lobe's not working properly?
Properly, correct.
Yeah, that was more specifically if you start getting frustrated and mad and hot, and that means your e-brake is not working,
right.
So, and then you're lobing. What are clams?
I used to lay on the floor with the kids. It works till today. I was doing it with Lily. And you found out if I lay on the floor and they run past you, and naturally you let them run through their first or second time, and they think they're fast, but you're setting them up. So as they're running, you grab them and boom, and then you got a blanket there, and then you roll them up in a blanket and you hold them like that. And they got to do that for 5 minutes, rolled up in a blanket, and none of them like it. So, but they'll play. They try to dodge you. They run past you. And I was messing around with Lily the other day to see if I could catch you. And actually, I couldn't because I'm slowing down. But she doesn't know that I will set her up and get her.
What is playing brains?
Well, we used to do that with Lisa. She would do something, and Granny couldn't figure stuff out, so they would touch each other forehead, and they're playing brains when trying to figure things out. Lisa and Granny would be touching foreheads.
They touch foreheads, and then they'd say, "Oops, you can't play. You don't have
you don't have enough.
you don't have the right equipment."
That's right. You don't have enough equipment to play brains.
Who is Rudolph the Black-Nosed Reindeer?
There's one of the guys in the story. There was all kinds of, naturally, but Honkley. See, Honkley, among other things, was taken on Santa Claus's sleigh to honk. You know how all sleighs have, and the Santa Claus's sleigh horn got broken, so they couldn't honk, so they would take Honkley aboard. And they had various other critters. A lot of the reindeer would fall down, and other ones ran away. There was the big scandal one year.
Was Rudolph the Black-Nosed Reindeer, wasn't he Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer alter ego? He was the evil brother?
He
evil twin?
Right. And Mike, my one son, who was a Rudolph fan, he was always, and here's would have the lineup, and everybody would be there in the sleigh, and they would get in Rudolph, and there was no Rudolph. Instead, you had
Rudolph
the black-nosed reindeer.
And Rudolph the Black-Nosed Reindeer would always bring you presents like Dickie, Dickie the Stick.
Well, you got Dickie the Stick, Rosie the Rock. That was a big one. You would open your present, you got a rock, Rosie the Rock. Michael got Dickie the Stick three Christmases in a row.
Poor guy. What are rumpus rides?
It's just jumping around in the house, not getting out of bed, leaping and doing stupid stuff.
What are stinky beard kisses?
That's me. Kisses to Grandpa. And the littlest ones you would get. It took years to. And remember, at that time I was smoking yet.
Ooh. Stinky beard kisses.
And the beard kiss would be the little, and now you're trying to get kisses from the little ones, the year and a half year olds or something. Come and give Gramps a kiss, and here's stinky beard kisses.
Okay,
but Granny once in a while used to take like a lotion, a scenty lotion, and rub me down so I could get kisses.
Who is Alton the Stork? I don't remember that one, but that was a question from Bill.
That gets really early, and Alton the Stork never really went. It was one of the stories that was developed, and it never fully flowered.
Alton the Stork, the Sword and the Fork?
Sword and the Fork. Alton Stork, Sword and Fork. It was a tale that was going, it never went no place. That was a magic word, by the way.
What is Bezo?
Bezo is an evil elf. Now he rides on the full train on Christmas time, and he usually sits in the back by Mike Lindner's presents. He's got and there have been years that he showed up, and the first three presents that Mike opened was Dickie the Stick, Rosie the Rock, and then finally the third one had a little something to it. Might have been a candy or something.
What is a bull princess?
A what?
A bull princess.
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know what that was a question that I reached out to all of the grandkids and brothers and sisters, and these were some of the things. Okay, you got to finish this sentence. Rickerbrecker, firecracker.
Zim boom ba.
What does that mean?
It used to, of all places, if you go way, way back to a Bugs Bunny cartoon, it was one of the cheers. He was a cheerleader. You know how he would suddenly, and he was someplace and he became a cheerleader real fast. A costume came up and he's out there and he's saying, Rickerbrecker, firecracker, zim boom ba. He was cheering, that's his cheering. Well, anytime we needed a cheer for anything, it was Rickerbacker firecrackers. I never learned another cheer by a cheerleader.
What is south of Pango Pango?
That's when you're doing something and it's gone. When it goes south of Pango, it's gone, off the radar.
No recovery?
No recovery. That would be the bad. It went south of Pango. That means you don't get it back. Forget about it. It's done.
Who is Ricky the Rat?
One of the story characters.
No, the Ricky the Rat was the guy, that guy that used to run around the neighborhood with you and Uncle Dick and.
Oh!
That
Wait,
Ricky the Rat.
Wait, it wasn't Ricky the Rat.
Wasn't it Mickey the Rat?
There's a couple guys that died. I'd have to see. Are you talking with Al?
Yeah.
Is that
And the guy
guy
who sprayed the old lady with the hose when you're walking down the road?
Oh, that's Jack the Rat.
Jack the Rat. Who is Jack the Rat?
Jack the Rat was a real person, and he prided himself in doing not so nice things. To give you an idea, in summer, now this is going back 70 years into Chicago. And people are watering lawns in summer, and it was very common to take a drink off the hose. And Jack the Rat and another guy is walking down there, and Jack the Rat asks the lady for a drink. She says, "Yes, son." He drinks it. He turns around and he sprinkled her to do bad things. His girlfriend was at a party for all girls, and they were in there and they're having light drinks, little beers, but some of them were underage. Jack the Rat called the police. turned the place in because he wanted his girlfriend to get out of the meeting earlier. Jack the Rat threw Dolores's brother off a roof. The police, they were doing Halloween type tricks and police. They're playing, the cops actually were kind of playing with us. And they're running across these rooftops. They get cornered. And the cops, they says, "Well, how do we get out of here?" And he says he grabbed Dolores's brother, says, "If you talk, you're done. We're gonna come and get you." And they took him and they threw him off the roof as a sacrifice to the cops. When the cops came down, they ran out this way. Jack the Rat strikes again.
That's perfect.